Telling children that someone is going to die or has died is never easy. And as big people, we're also going to be impacted by the loss that we're talking about. Remember, it's okay to show your feelings when discussing it with children. Not to an extent that they have to manage and support you, but in a shared experience type of manner. It's okay to be sad and cry. When explaining, it's often worth trying to find somewhere quiet and where you won't be disturbed to tell the children. If you have more than one child, you may decide to tell everyone together or to speak to each child independently. That's entirely up to you on what you think will work better with your family. Sometimes sharing the information all together can be helpful, as it allows that shared sense of things happening and people can listen to each other's questions, but there are no hard and fast rules on this. Often working out how to start the conversation can be the hardest part. One way is to just very simply say, "There's something sad I need to tell you." Using the word sad gives children a hook to hang the emotion on, which can be really helpful, as they're often not sure what to think or feel. Simply explaining that someone has died, and it's really important to use the word died. So often we want to protect our children and use words like lost, passed on, gone to sleep, gone to a better place. This actually doesn't help children, as they take things very literally, so they may want to go and find them, be scared of going to sleep in case that happens to them, or want to find the better place. Keep words really simple and explain very simply that they have died. Allow time and space for children to process this and ask questions. Be led by them. As we've seen in the previous videos, children process things differently at different ages. Some may say, "Okay, can I go and play now?" While others may have lots of questions. In answering the questions, be as honest and age appropriate as you can. If it's a sudden death and you don't know why it's happened, it's okay to say that. We don't know what happened. It may be that we need a special doctor who will try and work out why it happened, and then they'll tell us. But that's going to take some time if you're going to need a coroner or a post-mortem. If they want to know what you mean by died, explain that when somebody dies, their body doesn't work anymore. They don't feel any pain. They can't be happy or sad. They don't eat or drink and can't move. One of the nicest ways to explain it is the body is a little bit like an empty shell, and that's the bit that's left of us when the part that made them that special person is now gone. So it can't feel anything, it's just there. Explain that we can always remember them, and that will help us feel connected with them. Do allow the child to come back and ask questions and check things with you regularly. Do think about the rituals of death. What's going to happen next? Will there be a funeral? Will the children attend or be involved? Can they be involved in choosing flowers or songs, writing a poem, putting something into the order of service? Remember, you don't need to know everything to talk to your children. Sometimes saying, "We haven't decided yet," or "Let me think about that," is okay, as there's many decisions often to make when somebody's died. As long as you can go back to them and explain things to them, they can often cope with a "let me think about it," or "let me talk to this person or that person," or check to them. In our book, Teddy with the Hole in Her Heart, we explain that grief hurts because when someone special dies, they leave a hole in our heart. Knowing and loving someone changes us, and when they die, that has an impact on all of us. In sharing with children, here are a few do's and don'ts that we'd recommend and you may find helpful. Relating to do, please be specific and use the word death or dying. Please try and explain that that is permanent and it can't be reversed. Do explain what we mean by being dead. We talked about it earlier in the video. Do expect children at different ages to process the information in different ways. Do try and be honest and age appropriate. Trying to hide a traumatic event from a child doesn't really work. They pick up that something isn't right, and often they weave their own story and they added bits that weren't there and blame themselves. You might not want to give them all the gory details, but please try and be honest around the circumstances that you can explain later and more information as they get older, but try to give them a consistent information. On the don't use phrases like "gone to sleep," as this can really stress kids out about not wanting to go to sleep in case they die. Or up in the clouds, as that can make aeroplane journeys really traumatic, as the children want to see if they can see Granny in the clouds. Try not to compare. We're all different, even within our families. Well, your sibling is doing okay isn't helpful. As we've already discussed, children are different and their brains process the information differently at different ages. Please remember that grieving is a process and it takes time. Children and adults do work through it, but it can be an emotional time, and that's normal.